Hey, babies, it's Mother Love and Mr. Kennedy coming at you live today. This is a big day in American history. And I just want to get right to it. This is the first time in the history of this country that a sitting president and a former president were debating each other. And so here they come out here, the 45th and the President Joseph R. Biden are going to have this whole big debate. You really get into politics and what have you. What is your take on this, Mr. Kennedy?
Okay, well, no, it's history being made for one. Hopefully more people in the country will tune in to actually hear the debate and won't just read about it the next day. If we're lucky that everybody would truly want to be a part of this and help decide whether they want to who they want to choose for the next president of the country, because if we look at what's being said on both sides, there's stark differences on what one party says they want to do if they get in office versus another party being in office and what they say they would do if they happen to be successful and gaining control of the White House for the next 4 years.
See, when you talk about, I've been reading the paper, reading the emails and what have you, and the things up on Yahoo News, and they're so polarized that it's almost like us versus us, or us versus them. And I think the 45th thinks it's just all about him, and he has not laid out one plan for the American people. He kept saying before he was going to get a border fixed with Mexico, and Mexico was going to pay for that. We see how that turned out. I mean, it's just so many things. And here's a guy who's been convicted of 34 felonies. He has cheated on every wife that he's had, every wife that he's had, and we want to you want us to trust you with the nuclear codes. We want to trust you with public education, when he already said he wanted to scrap public education. He wanted to get rid of the IRS. Well, that one out. But then how are we going to get the roads repaired? How are we going to pay for the rail system if you get rid of them? Defund the police. I mean, it's everything that's like anti-American that an American can say about the country. And my thing is, and let me tell you something. We running right behind you. We running right behind you.
Running right behind who?
With the president and the former president, as far as age is concerned. One is 3 years younger than the other one. And do we just look at that as the age factor and say both of them are too old to be running for office? Because the president of the United States is like, that's got to be one of the, if not the hardest job in the world to carry.
Well, first of all, I've always said to you that they both are too old. If they ask the average American, you say that you should retire at 65 because you've had your best time, your best years, and now you should enjoy the rest of your time that you have on this planet. Why should it be any different for the president?
There should be an age limit, you're saying?
Of course, I say there should be an age limit. There is not one put in the Constitution because they was not thinking anybody in their 70s or 80s would be even thinking to run for election. So to say, well, why didn't our forefathers think about that? There was no reason for them to think about that because nobody back there in their right mind, wrong mind, any kind of mind they might have been in would have thought to run that old in life to want to run for the most powerful office in the country.
In the world, when you think about it.
In the world, but
at the time, we're talking about right now.
But at the time, back when the Constitution was being written, because they try to tell you that 90% of everything that we do based on what was read and written back then.
And 200 something years ago. And to really think that what was applicable back then is applicable now in the 21st century. And we have the power to amend the Constitution, change the Constitution. It shouldn't be for just one person or one group of people. That's the whole point of us being the United States of America. We look so fragmented. I mean, we looking trifling to the world. You got people making fun of who's running for office, and that's why you got to know who they are and whose you are, and what do you want them to stand for. The 45th, all he's saying is, when I get back in the White House, I'm gonna get retribution for everybody that I thought wronged me. And I was like, okay, it doesn't. You're saying that you want to get elected, but you don't want to do the job. You just want to get elected so you can be vicious and mean to other people. That's what you want to do?
Okay, well, first of all, that's one of the things. I mean, if nobody asks you about your policies, then why would you talk about something nobody's asking you about? I mean, as a newscaster, as someone who reports the news, if you don't ask the person who's running for office
the tough questions,
what are your plans? Okay, he said all he cares about is fixing the border, as if that's the only thing that's concerning. They had a bipartisan bill that could have been already passed to help fix the border, but he told the Republicans not to pass it because he wanted to use that as an issue to run on for the election. So do you really want to solve the border issue? Or do you just simply want to have that as an issue to run? I've told you this on more than one occasion. For over the past 30 years, no party, either party has chose to actually resolve immigration because neither party really wants to resolve.
They just want to kick it down the can, kick the can down the road, and they keep talking about we gotta secure our borders. People are coming in here and talking too fast, and we only want certain immigrants to come in, and we want the ones that we don't like to go out. Go back to Venezuela, go back to Bolivia, go back to wherever you came from. And a lot of these, what they don't seem to understand is that a lot of our Latino brothers and sisters were born here, and they got every right to be here just like we do. And it's not so much about the immigrants that that come over here. There's no foundation for them, and it's almost like, okay, well, you come over here and you could get a welfare check if you got kids, and you could get medical care, but you got to work for us for nothing. They're not paying attention. The migrants is coming. The immigrants are coming, and they're
not working for nothing. And they're not working for nothing. They're coming over here to do work that the average American does not want to do. So, and to try to in any way to make it seem as though the immigrants are fault. No,
I think that's wrong. I think you're right.
I mean, if you offer somebody a job, it's wrong for them to accept the job that you offer.
If they're paying you under the table, if you're not following the rules and regulations of being an immigrant.
First of all, women don't even to sit back and say, well, if they're not doing this or they're not doing that. You make the rules, you make the regulations, you make the rules to allow them to come over here to pick the crops, to do the jobs that other people are not wanting to do or not willing to do. So you can just as well, you can punish the people who hired them because they don't put them on the payroll. They don't make them pay taxes. You can make every last one of them pay taxes because you give them the check. They don't get paid
check
without you having.
Doesn't just appear.
So once again, you're trying to make something be a problem that really wasn't, because no matter how many people you allow to come over here, you have the right to say, okay, if you hire them, you have to put them on your payroll. Not pay them under the table. If you're paying them under the table, you should be penalized for paying them under the table. You choose not to penalize them. So why wouldn't they keep letting people come over here to work under the table if you're allowing it to happen? You're trying to blame somebody else for what you're doing.
Right.
The immigrants that are coming over here to work, the migrant workers that are coming over here to work,
a lot of them don't even speak the language.
They don't have to speak the language.
They do.
No, they do not have to speak the language.
But they got to understand.
You do not have to speak the language of another person to be able to understand. They know why they're coming over here. They know they're coming over here to pick crops. Whether you speak to them fluently or not, they still know what they're coming to do, because in order for them to get paid, if they don't do the job that you want them to do, you wouldn't be paying them.
And they don't understand about benefits, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons
they don't understand about benefits, or we don't understand about benefits. I mean, they do. See,
just like Social Security, we have to work up until we're 65 to be able to get our Social Security benefits that we put into way back in the day. And then as we live and we live longer, they don't allow them to have a pension plan. They don't allow them to have medical care. Not on the books. Not on the books.
So once again, are you looking to blame somebody else for what the employer is doing? The employer can put everybody on the books. The employer, the migrant workers that come over here are not putting themselves on the book,
right.
Are not putting themselves on the book, are not paying taxes or paying taxes. All that is controlled by the employer, the person who hires them. If they choose not to put you on the books, how are you blaming them for not going on the books if the employer did not put them on the books? Look at who's actually at fault. The only body who's actually at fault is the employer.
I get that.
Who's doing the hiring? If you
hire multiple employers,
I'm saying employer. It doesn't matter who the employer is. The fact that if you don't put that person on the books, make them pay into Social Security, make them pay into Medicare, make them pay taxes, you're choosing to skirt the system. And then you blame the market, saying, well, he's skirting the system. No, he's not skirting the system. You as the employer is skirting the system because you're taking advantage of somebody that came to America looking for work because there was work to be had.
All right. We see a lot of help wanted signs now around California because they're looking for workers and they're looking for migrant workers because America has gotten lazy and they don't want to do their own lawn.
Okay, who are you blaming?
When you say that, when I say blame, it's not about blame. It's about taking responsibility.
Okay.
I'm not saying blaming.
Okay, who should have to take responsibility?
The employer.
The employer, period.
Right.
It's not about the person who's coming looking for work. If you choose to let somebody show up and then you pay them under the table, that was the choice that you made. It had nothing to do with the worker. You chose to do that because just like you pay them under the table, you could tell them you got to fill out this paperwork so the government know who you are, that you're paying Social Security, you're paying into Medicaid, you receive the benefits, you have to help pay for the benefits. The reason why they keep telling you that Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security may go bankrupt is because you're putting people on the pay on those books, but not having them to help contribute to finance that particular system.
And another thing, that I hear their rumblings about is, okay, all these foreigners and these illegal immigrants and, all of this, they come over here and they don't want to tell you, the employer tells them a little bit of information. They don't want them to learn a lot of stuff. They don't want. We have classes here in California. They probably are all over the country. When people come here that don't speak English, and they have English as a second language, and their teachers.
Well, it have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, if you come from another country, you speak the language of wherever you came from. The fact that you come here, I mean, they've talked about this for years on making English the official language of the country. That's never been done. Okay, that's not on the immigrant that's coming over here to make
that's on us as Americans.
You choose not to because you always want that chance to be able to play. Okay, how can I beat the system? How can I beat the man? If you're always thinking about how you can beat the man, who you really beating?
And
yourself.
Who are you really hurting?
Yourself. You're not hurting someone else. You're hurting yourself. We're hurting ourselves because we choose to do this. We set up these traps in the society because we want these traps to be in society.
So you think that these politicians are just letting people come over here because we Americans don't want to do the work? Because I hear
what's wrong with that though? Wait a minute. When you say they keep letting them do it, you allow somebody to do something that somebody else feel that they don't want to do. I mean, that's why you talk to your kids, your grandkids, your brothers, your sisters. Your brothers, your sisters, we talk to everybody about education. The better educated you are, the less likely you are to want to do these menial jobs. Now stop and be realistic. If you get an education so you can work on a computer, you can do other things other than having to go out there and cut grass, other than having to go out there and pick fruit for people to eat. If you're educated so you don't have to do that, somebody still has to do these menial tasks. Somebody else still has to do that. It won't do itself because you say, okay,
we need the manpower.
Okay, if you need the manpower
and the woman power,
so then you bring in immigration. They know what they're doing. They're choosing to use this as something to argue over every 4 years because it helps to get one person elected over the other.
And they really don't do anything about it.
They choose not to because
there are people here in this country illegally that have been here for 20, 30 years. And I mean, just allow them to fly under the radar when we busted our hump. And in the entertainment industry, let me say, in the entertainment industry, I know you all out there in cyber world think that we make a ton of money and, we just, hand over fist, we making money. They are also, you got to remember, we are in the 51%. And we get taxed at a 49% rate. So instead of for every dollar that I make, I'm only going to get 49 cents of that dollar. And you hear about all these big $1 million contracts. You got to realize they got to pay the agent, they got to pay the manager, they got to keep an attorney on retainer. Some of them have to keep a doctor on retainer. You know, all of these are, and then being
those
taxed.
are expenses. Women, those are your expenses that you have to pay as a person working in Hollywood. No matter what job you happen to have, if you just a regular worker, if you pay taxes, you pay into Social Security, you pay city tax, you pay state tax, you pay federal taxes.
You pay taxes.
No, I mean, people complain about it, but then again, when a road collapse or a road is not being built, then you complain about that. So we turn out to be just a bunch of complainers and whiners that we look to complain about everything. You know that it costs money to build bridges. It costs money to build schools.
That's what our tax dollars are supposed to be doing.
Once again, why are you complaining about the tax dollars? Let me finish.
I'm complaining because we don't get what we put in. We don't get that. I mean,
What do you mean you don't get that?
We don't get that.
You drive on the highway every time you leave here to go to LA.
And that's what they need to focus on, the infrastructure. I mean, we got an infrastructure that is so outdated. It's bad enough with the climate change. Now it's water busting up because the pipes are too old. You know, and we got potholes that are too big.
So once again, that comes down to you pay. Wait a minute. You pay.
That comes down who's administering the tax program.
Not it.
Okay. It is.
All right. Then if it's just simply who's administered, it comes down to where you're spending the money. In one breath, you're saying immigrants. Now, do you want them to pay more, pay their fair share to be here in America? If you want them to pay their fair share in America, then they have to be registered so you can. So the employer takes out their money for taxes out of their paycheck before he gives them a paycheck. If he's paying them under the table, 9 out of 10 times he's paying them cash, so he doesn't have to pay taxes. So he's choosing to beat the system. So when we complain about why things are not happening, think about how we as Americans are trying to con each other because we're always trying to get over on who? The government.
Okay, but we are the government.
Well, but if you're always trying to get over on yourself, you're not truly looking in the mirror. Because if you're willing to pay taxes, why are you not willing to have an immigrant pay taxes as well? They still get services. If they get sick, they still go to the hospital. Right. It's not like they don't go to the hospital because they're sick. They still go to the hospital, and everybody else who's working pays for that. Right. So it's not that the system is totally broken. It's only broken because we want it to be broken because
they want the loopholes in it so they can make the money. Okay, now what is your take when you're talking about the employers? Okay, you got these employers. You own a business. Say you own a clothing manufacturer. Company, and you need to get cutters in, designers, get the machines in, the whole 9 yards. Then you got all the stuff built up in the warehouse. Then you put people in here that don't speak English well, who they're saying. I mean, I've heard people say to me, one of my girlfriends who's Vietnamese, she and her mother, they all came over here to have a better life. And she had all of her kids are American citizens, and so they were talking about she wanted her to take her kids back to Vietnam so they could see where they came from, see what their history is. Okay. So they they're all planning to go, and so it was she, her husband, 2 or 3 kids, and they were all planning to go to Vietnam. So it came time for the grandmother. My friend's mother, she was like, "Okay, Mom, we're gonna go back to Vietnam so the kids can see what Vietnam is like." She said, "I don't ever want to see Vietnam again." The mother said, the grandmother of my friend, she said, "I don't ever want to go back to Vietnam." And everybody was trying to tell her, but it's not like that anymore. It's a lot different. And she said, "It's never gonna be different for me. I remember what they did to me and my family. I remember when our own Vietnamese brothers and sisters came in and burned up our villages, and carrying on." And then she was saying that I didn't realize this back then. She said that American servicemen have gotten a lot of Vietnamese women pregnant, and soon as we get pulled out of Vietnam, they're here with this baby and they can't get to the United States. So then they were fussing about that, and now it's back to being a communist country.
Okay, and the point.
So the point is, some people don't want to go back. Some people they're willing to fight and work tooth and nail. I don't care what I got to do to stay here in America. If I got to pick crap with a splinter, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that we are in a better position because I don't care what it is. I don't care what kind of job it is. I'm going to show up every single day. I'm going to work as long as I possibly can. Then when they come in and the powers that be, like somebody says something to the police and, we got a sweatshop down here in LA and, they don't want to pay the people in here. There's no air conditioning. And, then they get called on the carpet because now you got, wait a minute, what's the word? It's going to come to me.
Okay.
Like slumlords.
Okay.
That's what was coming to me.
Okay.
And they don't work in the best of conditions.
Okay. Well, because they do not work in the best of conditions, it still comes down to the employer because you choosing to put them in that condition. Okay, you're taking advantage of somebody who needs work. I mean, everybody needs to earn money, everybody needs to earn money. Period.
Right.
No matter where you fall at on the scale. Some people have a lot more money than others, but we all need money. The fact that money. The fact that we don't make sure that we collect the taxes properly. I mean, it's just like right now. One of the things that the president that we have in office now is saying is that we need to tax the rich people and companies that are making
billions
but not paying their fair share of taxes. Now, do we as fellow Americans, do we care that we allow companies to get away with that?
Wait a minute. I just want to. This is not a sidebar. I just want to make mention of the fact when you said that politicians need to pay their fair share of taxes to keep, help keep the economy going.
Yes.
And I remember the 45th said people that pay taxes are stupid. So we're stupid, but in our stupidity, you still have a right to run, go around the country, fly on airplanes, go across the world. But taxpayers are stupid. He said in front of everybody, I ain't paid taxes in 18 years.
Okay, but he's also come back and tell you that he's has no. See, it's how much taxes. It's not the fact that even when they complain about big business not paying their fair share, it's not that they don't pay taxes at all. It's that they should be paying more
limit
tax.
their tax a bit.
Okay, well, everybody tries to limit their taxes. I mean, so we don't want to pretend like only rich people. I don't care where you fall at on the scale. It's why you go into H&R Block and you go into all these other tax preparers to see if you can have deductions to lower your tax liability. So we all look to pay less taxes. The fact that if we had a flat tax rate, that would be far more equitable to where everybody will be assured that if you fall in this bracket, then you pay X amount of taxes, period.
I thought we had that.
You have tax brackets.
Yeah.
Okay, but just like if you do a Schedule C where you itemize your deductions so that you pay less taxes, that's one of the things that we put in the system. It's like when you purchase a house, you pay taxes when you purchase the house. You pay taxes when you sell the house. You pay taxes when you purchase a car. You pay taxes when you sell the car. So whatever you do, you pay taxes because we need the revenue to have schools, to have roads, to build bombs, to build ships. You need taxes, revenue to pay for all of this. So us to think that we don't want to pay it and we should figure out a way not to pay it, well, then you're hurting yourself because everybody else on the planet and any other country on the planet pays taxes so that their system will work the way they work.
Well, then
you have to pay into a system in order to have a system. You can't build roads over in Europe if nobody's paying taxes. They would help to pay for the roads to be built. So everybody do pay taxes. It's just how much taxes.
You would think everybody would pay taxes. Everybody doesn't pay taxes.
Okay.
I mean, when you tell the big muckety mucks, you got a $6 billion company, but you can get your tax bracket go get lower so you can write all these.
But you still have a tax bracket.
Right.
Okay, so you're still paying taxes. It's the amount of taxes. It's still the amount. Because everybody tries to lower the amount that they pay into the system. But then we complain about things that are not being done. You want to have your cake and eat it too. You want to say in one breath, I want the police to be out here. But then I don't want to pay the police to be out here. I want teachers to teach my kids, but I don't want to pay the teachers. So which way do you actually want it to be? Because you're trying to have it both ways. you're saying in one breath, "Oh, I don't want my taxes to be raised, but the teachers need to make more money." We
and they should.
You in the next breath you say, "Okay, well, if you work at a fast food restaurant, you need to make more money for a living wage." Well, if you make more money, then the price of the hamburgers and food that you purchase goes up because the company that hired that worker now has to pay you more. He adjusts his prices to pay you more, and then you complain about the prices being higher.
See, that's when you know. Wait a minute.
So how do you have
Okay,
both ways
I didn't
all at
let
the
you
same
talk.
time?
I didn't let you talk.
Go right
No,
ahead.
you.
Okay.
See, I lost my train. No, I was gonna say, and people that work in the service industry, they do need to, at least be able to have a living wage so they can. I mean, because you think of California is an extremely expensive state. I mean, when we were going through all the issues back there, and they was jacking up the price on everything, they had a price on eggs out here, $12.99. I mean, so this stuff
But
is
that was based
double.
on the flu,
Right? That was for
on
the
the bird
pandemic.
flu because the bird flu that the chickens caught, so they had to kill so many chickens. And
Well, I'm talking about during the pandemic.
I'm talking.
I'm saying during the pandemic, they raised the price of everything. So then when the bird flu hit, it raised the price of chicken. Never in my life would I have ever thought I could buy a pack of chicken wings. And it'd be the whole wing, the pack of chicken wing, and it will cost me $25 almost just to get some chicken wings. I look in there, and they break it down. They got a pack of chicken thighs, they got a pack of chicken legs, they got a pack of chicken breasts, and I'm like, chicken wings, $21? Really? One of the products that I like, well, I ain't gonna tell you what it is unless y'all send it to the check. But wait a minute,
Okay.
One of the products that I use, and I have been a loyal customer, and I go in there and I'm like, it's just you and I for the most part. And I go in there when we go, where we shop, we get a bargain. No, we can't even make a mind of that.
Okay.
Go to the grocery store. I go to pick up my tub. And I look at it, and I always thought it was really overpriced in the first place. It went from being, when I first started buying it, went from being like $5.89, we'll say $5.99, just for the sake of the conversation.
Okay.
And I've used this product for years.
Yes.
I go in and I look at the price, and I have sticker shock. Now you want me to pay you twice as much money for a product I've been using for years, but I'm not getting twice as much product. So I'm like, and it's not about that I couldn't afford it. It was the principle of the thing, to have to pay that kind of money, and it's like, oh, what's the big deal? I mean, you go into the grocery stores and to the delis and to the market, and the food price is ridiculous.
Okay, but
it's a good thing I'm a pretty decent, I'm a really
but I mean, we got
chef.
We have a few people like C-Town is piped in. Prime Black is piped in to give their thoughts on when we're talking about a corporate America paying their fair share. We as most human beings on the planet feel that if you happen to be in the upper class, that you deserve breaks that the lower and middle class don't deserve. That's how we feel. That's how we think and feel as a group.
That's why they got rid of affirmative action. Because why should they get in just because they're black or they're Asian or they're a woman? Why should they get in? Education is supposed to be just for the people that we believe it's for.
No, wait a minute. Stop. Wait a minute. Education, wait a minute. That's where we have public schools. You have public schools, you have private schools. So it's not that we're not. In order to have a country and to be in the position that this country is in, is because the majority of the people are educated. If you're not whatever degree of education you have, whether you have a college degree, or a high school degree, whatever degree you happen to have, it is all necessary in order for the system to work as a whole.
Well, let me just say this. Let me say just this. That about education and what have you. Yeah, that might work, and because take them up the elevation of the success ladder. Okay, but when you said, okay, this is what they want. Okay,
yes,
we have $1 trillion. I think they said $1 trillion. Because they thought $1 trillion. Of these young people coming out of college, got their masters. Then they go get their PhD, and they can't find a job.
But that's not all of them.
No, wait a minute. But when you got $250,000 in debt, and you can't get a job that can sustain you, and then when President Biden, let me finish. And President Biden comes and says, we're going to forgive a lot of the student loan because it's crushing people. It is crushing them. I think, it's just me, I think all education ought to be free. Because we want to put the best. We want to put the best out there. Well, some of them rich people out there just throwing their money around. I got a $40 million boat. I don't care how you spend your money. Spend your money like you want to. Just do it like you want to.
Okay, when I'm saying, if you put it in perspective, you didn't become a millionaire because you didn't create a project, a product that people wanted to buy, a service that people wanted to use in order for you to make that, for you to get into that status. So if that's the case, then how do you want things to change? No, how do we want it? Without you being educated to change things, then you keep doing the same thing, repeating the same thing over and over again because you didn't get educated to be able to change something. If you don't know the ins and outs, how can you make a change? We want education to start at home. Okay, well, we as a society has now said, okay, we don't have a intact family. You have a mother raising the kids. You have a father raising the kids. Well, if you keep breaking up the kids, the families, well then what kind of product do you expect to come out of that if you keep breaking up the family?
It's systemic. When you think about it, we got Prime Black on the line. We got C-Town. C-Town said we're born right. We just learned to do wrong. That make a lot of sense. We're born right. We just learned to do wrong. You're a child once in your life, and you're an adult for the rest of your life. We just need to hold accountability. Then he goes on to say they're treating immigrants now how we were treated back in the days, less than animals. Prime Black is on the line with it. That's insane. The system was not designed for us. And when you say us, I believe it's like poor people. We're not the rich, gilded people. Okay. He also says we have to re-educate our people in our new fashion. None of what we were taught, helped us truly elevate. Education starts at home. He agrees with you.
Right. But to say that the system wasn't taught, yes, it was taught because one of the things why do we have doctors and lawyers, black doctors, black lawyers? No. We have educated black people just like you have educated, white people. You have educated, Hispanic people. You have educated
everybody.
Asian. So everybody is educated to a degree. The more education you get, the better you will do as a group because you're far better educated, and you can create.
They don't want
whether they want it or not, though. Whether the powers that be want or not. What do you want for yourself, though? I'm not arguing.
You get a little agitated.
What I'm saying,
you need to calm down. You get a little agitated.
If you listen to what I'm saying,
okay, just do it with a less agitation.
What I'm saying,
okay,
to keep trying to blame the system. Okay, wait a minute. If you don't choose to help educate your child to know about themselves, about the country they live in, about the world they live in, you're not educating your child. But then to blame the system and say, well, it's the system is not educating them. No, you're not educating them. Now with the internet, the way the internet is now,
you need to understand.
The playing field is far more level now than ever before because you have the internet now. You can get the information that you didn't have before.
I gotta say this: some of the dumbest people are on the internet, and it can become a predatory outlet sometimes. When you got these young kids on here, I don't know if you heard this. You did hear this. The Surgeon General has said that he wants a warning on all these social media platforms, like they do on the like they do with the records and like they do with the movies, or even on the television show. This program is rated R. What do you think about that? Because this is like their new babysitter. This is like their new teacher.
Okay, well, it's like it is their new babysitter, but it's yours as the adult. See, you try. The easy way out is try to put it on the child and say, "Oh, this is on them." No, it's on you as the parent. If you can still. That they have that computer right there in their hand. You can still educate them on that computer so they get the best out of it. They learn more things from the computer. If you sit back and just say, "Well, here I put this computer in front of you, and let you figure it out.
You know what?
But then once again, though, wait a minute. Then once again, you have decided that you don't really want to educate them. You just said, "I put it out there."
They
okay,
say,
but you as the parent.
No, and I'm saying, I've talked to a lot of these young parents out here, these single parent women, single parent fathers out here trying to do their best to raise their kids. The chicks go, I just don't have time, mother love. You know, I got to get up, I got to get dressed, I got to go to work. Okay, you can't take that and use that as an excuse because these are your children. You need to set the boundaries. You need to solidify the foundation. You know, when your kids come in and you can't wait till they're 12, 15 years old. You got to start them from the time. You got to start them from the time they knee high to adult. Okay. You just can't go out there and say, okay, you're 15, go out there and do it. Okay, and then I think about the kids. Okay, but wait a minute. The kids are in the foster care system. We have millions of children in the foster care system, and the biggest thing they want is to feel safe someplace. You know, they want to feel like they belong. They want somebody to actually see them and hear them, and then they shut down. The teens shut down because it's like, what I got to do? Don't nobody want to listen to me? I'm a teenager. I'm not that stupid. You know, how come my mother didn't want me? Why did my father and them, do whatever he did so he going to jail? And I'm a dude, and my mama don't keep me around any positive male influence.
Okay, but that's all the women. But everybody does not fall into that category. Okay.
I didn't say everybody did. I'm talking about the people that do.
Okay, and what I'm saying, the people who fall into that category where they don't take the time, the pressure is being put on the woman to do everything, to do far more today than ever before. Okay, if there's not a husband around, then she has to get out and get a job. It's not like if and okay. If you
don't you think she should have thought about that before she had a baby?
Once again though, whether she should have thought about it before that, once you have a baby, you still have a baby. Right or wrong, you still have one. Isn't that the case? Once you have a child, you still have a child. You didn't make the child by yourself.
But they have the children and give them away. Leave them in front of a firehouse.
Okay, but that's a small group. The majority of us in America still have a family life. Whether it's the perfect family life, a broken family, it is.
There's no such thing as a perfect family.
Once again, if
what is your definition of that kind of family? What is your definition? Because you're saying our definition ain't right.
If you allow me, a perfect family is a mother and a father. The mother.
What makes you say that?
If you allow me, I'm gonna tell you because the woman did not make that baby by herself. Okay, you ain't gonna be yelling at me. You yell at me. I'm telling you. You said what is the perfect system? The perfect system is
there's no such thing as a perfect system. So you set people up for failure.
So
you gotta be perfect. You got a perfect family. Listen. You got a mom, you got a dad, you got a mom, you got siblings. Okay, so that's the perfect union right there. Then the father getting stressed out for whatever reason, he loses his job, he start drinking and he start beating on the wife and the kids. Okay,
then that's when the perfect system anymore. Then
so that's according to you.
You asked me what a perfect system is. I mean, if you in anybody's Bible and anybody's Bible, wait a minute, let me finish. And anybody's Bible, they talk about a man and a woman and the children because it took two people to make that.
Wait a minute, so you saying that the Bible is absolute?
But you said nothing's perfect. Once again, I'm telling you that it is. Because you can nitpick anything. Wait a minute. If you say ain't nothing perfect, then what are you even trying to do?
Him beating on his wife and kids, that's just a little thing?
So once again, is every man beating on their wife and child? No, they're not. You pick out the people who are doing the bad things and only talk about the people who are doing the bad things. What about talking about the people who are doing the right thing?
If it bleeds, it bleeds. That's not going to hit the headline.
So once again, you're saying only talk about the negative things versus the positive thing. I'm talking about positive things. I'm saying positive.
Well,
because the point that I'm making is this: is that the system of having a man and a woman that's raising the child because that man and woman made the child. That is the perfect system because a man didn't make the child by himself. The woman didn't make the child by herself. The system it took two people to make these two people.
Okay, but what if it's the wrong two people? What if she's pregnant because of incest, because somebody is raping her on a regular basis?
So then that I'm not talking about that particular system. I'm not talking about that because that is not a perfect system. If you got raped, if a woman was raped and ended up having a child, that wasn't a perfect system. Did I say that was a perfect system? No, I did not. Because there's not a perfect system. Say if somebody got raped and they end up having a child, then that makes the system that made it a perfect system. No, it did not. There are ills in society. Yeah, we know that there are ills in society. If we talk more about the positive things in society, more of us will be positive than we spend too much time worrying about all the negative things. Okay, what about this bad thing? What about that? Yes, there are bad things that happen
most
all the
people just
time,
want
though.
to be able to go to work, have a job that's going to help them sustain their lifestyle and not have to go through this. And you're right, not everybody is like that.
Correct.
The majority of us are decent people.
Yes.
The majority of us want to be in a safe environment.
Yes.
We want to be able to go to work. We want to, if we get sick, we got good health care. We want to be able to know that when you take your baby to the daycare center, they're going to take care of your child like you would. I mean, when you got people going to work and they got 2 or 3 kids, we're just going to go with 3. Okay. So she got 3 kids she's taking care of, and including herself. 5 of them went off, God knows, to whatever, and maybe she doesn't have all the kids with the same daddy. Okay, so now you got to deal with that dynamic, and maybe one of the daddies said, okay, that's just too much. I ain't coming up anymore to say about that. You do it. Okay, so she busting her hump, she got to get up, get 3 kids together, got to do all of that, rob Peter to pay Paul, and now you're saying, she got to be in a perfect relationship.
I didn't say she had to be women. I just said she
okay,
had
well,
to
you
be.
said that's what constitutes a perfect relationship with a perfect family.
Right, it does. But wait a minute, the fact that if you go out there,
we didn't make that part.
Okay, well then you didn't make that part then. The fact that you can go out here and tell somebody, okay, if you have a child you didn't have a child by yourself. You had a child. You may be raising a child by yourself. Okay, but that's because you didn't know that person that you made the baby with, as well as you thought you knew. So sometimes maybe we as people need to back up and say, wait a minute, let me actually get to know that person before I start having kids with that person. Yeah. Because you're blaming the system and blaming everybody else for what you did. Wait a minute, you and that man or that woman got together and made that child. The child didn't make themselves. And the fact that we talk about, okay, the downfalls and the pitfalls that happen coming from a broken home. People do far better when they're in an intact home than they do when they're in a non-intact home. That statistic shows you that. Society shows you that we do far better when we have an intact family to grow up in. The fact that we tell people, because you're making money, because you have a paycheck, you don't have to have the other person, because you struggle with what you're making, and you and that child will be okay, or you and the children will be okay, because now you do have some kind of income. Because it does take income no matter who you are.
Right.
And the fact that if we thought more of one another as human beings and said, well, I'm going to get to know this person before I start reproducing and making more people on the planet, I actually got to know this person. So maybe I'll care enough for that person that I want to be in their life and be in that child's life for their life. That makes a big difference in the world. The fact that we keep allowing too many people to say, hey, I can do it all by myself. And then wonder why we see more and more things go astray in the world. It's because we're allowing it to go astray.
We got to take responsibility. Hey, Evil Queen, she says, let's get ready to mumble.
Right. Okay, she's talking about with the 2 old guys that would be doing the debate tonight.
I know.
No, but
I mean, I got it as soon as I saw it.
But that's what the point that I was making about. We as a country need to decide what is the age limit for a president. Just like we have an age limit for you to drive, we have an age limit for you to drink, we have an age limit for you to do a variety of things. We as a society has decided, okay, this seems to be the right time or right age for you to do this or do that. Well, then it should also be a time and a place for who should be running the country. Somebody who's in their late 70s, early 80s, which both of them will be, if whoever get elected will be in their 80s before their term is up. Both of them will be in their 80s.
Well, President Biden is already in his 80s. He just turned 81.
And the fact that his challenger is only 3 years younger. Only 3 years
That's
younger.
why I don't understand why he keep calling Joe Biden the old man. You right there on his heels, dude. What's wrong with you?
Then look at that.
And he looked like a heart attack waiting to happen.
Both of them do, because of the age. I mean, no, once again, we're saying because what one group wants versus the other group. You're saying, okay, I'm taking this person. I would have preferred that the Democrats would have chosen a younger guy to be running for this office. I would prefer that the Republicans would have chosen a younger person to run for office.
Thought.
not thought. I mean, I wish they would have. The fact that we're given very a limited choice on who has that ability to be in office.
I want to run for president. I could do it,
but you
with 17,000 people helping me.
Well, you have to. They have help too, though. They're not running by themselves. When people ask about, well, why this person, why that person, no. Okay, we're just looking at some of the comments.
That's okay, wait. That's why I keep look over here.
Yes, because we're
Brian Black said, you must understand all of us go through these multiple choices, decisions in our lives that lead people to these decisions they make. Yes. We were in Jacob's trouble before 2019. Okay. We went through and had to fight and survive through a white supremacy oppression operation against our people. Black people got enough problems to deal with in our community. C-Town had said earlier, look, they didn't design the system for us to succeed. Okay, so and we're always fighting. We're always fighting against ourselves. Instead of pooling our resources together. Okay, and saying that have a more powerful economic base.
But isn't that on us though? It always surprises me or amazes me that when people say, well, this one designed for you. Well, no, it does not have to be designed for you. It has to be designed for you to say, let me get educated so I can do what's best for me, for my group. If I get, the better educated I am, the better I can do for my group. Right. And to sit back and keep blaming the other everybody. Group. As long as you're blaming somebody else, you're not taking responsibility for your actions. We as Black people in America need to say, okay, well, look, make sure that our kids are better educated so they can get a better job, so they can create their own jobs, so they can build their own factories, they can hire people. But you have to be educated to do that. There's no getting around that. We try to pretend as though there's a way to get around it, but then getting around it end up having a lot of people end up in jail, in prison, going doing heavy drugs that they can't come back from. The neighborhoods all because of lack of knowledge. We're not taking advantage of the fact that we need more knowledge. We don't want to know.
I remember when we were growing up, they used to say, you want to keep the secret from Black people? Put it in a book. Black people don't read. And I had to beg to differ with them. I mean, we were in there fighting that tooth and nail. And I've written 3 books. I'm a best-selling author, thank you very much. And I've written 3 books, and I've done numerous op-ed pieces for different newspapers and different magazines and what have you. And I remember growing up, and education was the key in our house, plain and simple. We were the only people in our whole big community that had encyclopedias, that we had a library. My mother told us, you do not throw a book in the trash. You don't throw a book on the floor. That was worse than putting your pocketbook on the floor, dropping a book and don't pick it up. So we wanted to learn. And she was just a fearless reader of all. She really did. She put that inside of me. And it kind of psychologically messed me up as a little girl growing up because I didn't want that Barbie. Well, I did. I wanted a Barbie doll, but they didn't make them look like me. And then Barbie and them Mattel started making dolls that look like me. And when you don't speak up, you're giving silence is a form of consent.
Yes.
You have said that to me multiple times. And when you think about it, when you really think about it, you want the best of yourself to be in a relationship.
Yes.
One of the things that keep you and I together was we just celebrated our wedding anniversary. We celebrated another anniversary in October. And one of the biggest things, I say this to people all the time, we're going to get a husband like Kennedy. I'm like, you going to do the work?
Yes.
Well, what you have to do, he just loves you. He dotes on you because I do things to keep him doting on me. I like the doting part. Only time I ever opened up a door by that really didn't count because I was standing outside.
Okay, but
wait a minute, I was standing outside of the post office and I was just standing at the door waiting for it. And the guy came up to me behind me and said, you are really spoiled. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, you've been waiting for somebody to open up the door.
Okay, but now I would ask you this. If it had not been for my parents and how they raised me to respect women and would I've been doing that? I had to be taught that. That's when I say all the time though, things should be taught. We keep trying to assume that people know right from wrong when they know everything. No,
you gotta be an example for them.
Okay,
too.
That's what I'm referring to when I say you have to be taught. If nobody teaches you anything, how do you know? If nobody teaches you, you don't just automatically know what to do right from wrong if nobody teaches you. We all have to be taught. I mean, just like Big Levi has a book out now.
Why you take my thunder from me like that? What is wrong with you?
Oh, you was
yeah.
Okay, well then you
no, you done jacked it up.
No, you
yes, you did. You went right for the jugular on me. Okay. I'm getting ready to say what I'm gonna say.
Well, then say
no, you done ranked it. He done ranked it for me. That was gonna be my thing. That's what he do. But the biggest reason why we still stay together with all this kind of craziness, because this is my friend.
Okay.
This is my
so that's another thing that you have to learn.
And with that marriage stuff, that'll get on your nerve. Your friendship, your friendship. We are more tolerant of our friends than we are of our mates. That's across the board. How many times?
You said you wanted to do that instead of me.
So thank you very much. I'm waiting for the book. I'm just gonna wait for the book, and then we're gonna have a whole show about with Big Levi, because he's a cool guy. He said, Perm Black said, neither side will succeed because they yet both still deny the atrocities of what our people went through in this country. Reparations is the first solution. That's right. I will cut a check. I'm a direct descendant of the slave. Well, I know where we came from because we went there and I didn't want to leave. Yeah, I know he drugged me. I know they put something in my water because I was like, for the whole 12 hours. And because I saw the side, I saw the other side. It made so many gaps in my life and growing up and why we do certain things. I mean, when we went to the motherland and I saw, why they stand out here in the street lights singing? That's what they do. In Africa, let me tell you in Africa, everybody who gets up, you got to get up, shower, shampoo, and shine, get you something to eat, and you have to go outside. Even the elders, they make everybody go outside to get the sun.
Okay, but that's the women. I want to just chime in on that. That's something that we've seen every place we travel around the world. So that's not just something that happens only in Africa.
Right.
On people getting up, because part of being positive and being a positive force in this world is the fact that you get up and you become productive. If you choose not to become productive, then you become one of the users of society. If you become one of the givers of society, it's because you become educated and you can give more than you have to take. If you don't know much, you have to take because you don't know. If you know, then you can do better. That's why education is the key. That's the whole thing about being educated. As you become more educated, then you have a chance. And then you have a chance to change your outcome. You have a chance to change your family outcome. You have a chance to change your generation. No, society as a whole. Okay. All built around education.
And education, please don't get me wrong, is critical. A lot of people do very, very well that didn't go to college or dropped out of college because they saw what they could do.
Education,
and you can be educated.
And a lot of ways.
I'm gonna bite you in your forehead, black man. Okay, now see, there you go. He's like a child.
No, you said you wanted to take over.
What do you mean I want to take over? What that show say? Right there.
The Mother Love Show. Mr. Kennedy, Mother Love, the Mother Love Show. That you said, what does it say? That's
okay, but you ain't gonna work my nerve. You do know people looking at us and listening.
Okay, and I'm telling you what I think because looking at society, and we keep talking about the ills of society. More ills come when you have a broken family than it does having an intact family. No, it's not exactly.
No, I'm just saying we have become so fractured in our families, in our churches, in our communities, at the synagogue. I remember talking to this little boy one time where he was like, he had just turned, I think they 13 when you get bar mitzvah.
Yeah.
And they planned this huge party for him. It's like when they have baby showers for babies that don't even know what they're there for. And I don't know what the heck. And remember, when you have a baby shower, invite the men. They have no idea what to get you. So put that Cadillac stroller on your list. Where if you're going to wherever you're going, just put that on the list. And that's what I did. The same thing with the wedding. Okay, that was kind of bad. But we got really great presents. But I'll tell you about that.
But when we look at when we travel, because we travel around the world, you look at different cultures, and one thing that's common with all cultures is that having a family structure makes the nucleus of everything works better. And the fact that that's why I say to women all the time, if you're looking at this upcoming election and who you may want to have in office, if one person is telling you that they want to put handcuffs on you on how you can live your life, what you can do about your body, is that the person you would want to be over you, who's telling you how you should deal with your body based on how they feel, not on how you feel? I mean, and I ask women again, I ask again why I have this forum. How come you're not asking men to have more responsibilities? Since the Republicans are asking you not to be able to have an abortion, that you should go to term and bring another person on this planet, what did they ask the person who helped make that person have to do? So why women are not asking that men have to be held more accountable, since it took you and me together to make this child? And regardless of whether we married, not married, whether it was rape, incest, no matter how that child came into this world, if you're telling me as a woman, if you're telling a woman that she has to take that child to term, what other things do you have for the man to have to be responsible for that person that he brought into the world?
Cut it off. I said cut off the activity, not
in reality. No, just like you want to pass a law that say that you will punish her, you should pass laws to punish him, because if it wasn't for him, she would not have been pregnant to start with. That's being responsible and saying, okay, if you ask something of me, I should be able to ask something of you. Mm-hmm. And if I can ask something of you, then I should have you in office to be over me, telling me what I'm only can do, but not what you have to do. Mm-hmm. As an individual. Right. That's what I'm saying.
And you don't even know what kind of circumstances, because Prime Black shared with us that his mother was a single mother.
Yes.
And they, everybody get their, that's the foundation that you need to have.
Yes.
My mother, she told us to never call her single, because she said she was not single. She said she is the unremarried widow of my father. That's what's on her tombstone.
Okay, now
I am the unremarried, unmarried. And we were
okay, now I have a question for you. Now, when you were a child, did you ever stop and think or wish that maybe she had to remarry? I'm just asking you in retrospect, when you look back at things, do you stop and think and say, well, I wish mama would have remarried because it would have been nice to have a daddy in the home? I'm just asking you, what were your thoughts of that?
I didn't have any thoughts for that.
Wait a minute. You had thoughts. You couldn't dictate to your mother what she would do.
Right. I couldn't say anything about it.
No, what the question that I asked
I know
is that did you ever wish that you had another father? I mean, because your father died. It wasn't like he went off to, that he left your mother. I mean, he left your mother only because he passed away.
6 kids.
But the fact that what I'm asking is that, did any time while you were still growing up, did you wish your mother had to replace them? Because it wasn't that he left because he didn't want to be with your mother. Right. He passed away. So would you have felt better if he would have brought another man into your home to help raise y'all? That's what I'm asking. Because that's a fair question to ask.
Because we had so many positive men in our lives. And it wasn't like, to this day, I miss my father. And she just made sure we stayed around positive people, especially positive Black men, because she used to say, look, I can do all I can do with these girls, but I'm going to have a positive male influence in their lives.
Yes.
And our uncle stepped up to the plate. Some of her friends stepped up to the plate.
Yeah,
so cool. There was no like gap.
Okay. But now you, in your case, you were fortunate.
Yeah.
Okay. But we look at so many people in this country that do not have that fortune to have external family members that stepped up, the village to help raise you. Mm-hmm. That too many women today are stuck with they're being by themselves.
90 seconds.
Oh wow! That they're by themselves. Now I want to ask another answer question, because we got another thing that came from Prime Black, who was asking about, is either party talking about reparations? Okay.
No.
Well, now I'll tell you this. Yes, they are, because the Democratic Party has had legislation that has come up to talk about reparations. Republican Party has never offered reparations to any group. No, I take that back. They did it for the Chinese. So they did it for other groups. They have not done it for Black Americans. And do we honestly think that if the Republicans are in control, they would ever offer us reparations? I think we have a better chance of getting reparations from Democrats than we'll ever have a chance of getting reparations from Republicans. And I'll let you finish the show because we're almost out of time. Because we're almost out of time.
Show. All right, babies, you know that we love you. Find Mother Love on all the regular platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. I just had my list.
Yeah, and you move to your list. Okay,
but anyway.
But on all major platforms. She's on all major platforms.
Mm-hmm. And I love to just say this, GeoSolve. We're on their website, and just check us out on YouTube. You know, get involved in the conversation. I appreciate everybody who came in and said what they said. Remember, we are the Mother Love Show at gmail.com. Just log on. Know that we love you. And remember this: no matter how big or tall, short or small, thick or thin, matters not what skin you're in. Everybody needs some mother love now and then. Peace, baby.